to ET Now Startup Central, India's first and only daily show dedicated to startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Chandra Shrikant, joining you live from India's startup capital, Bengaluru. And Krishna, what a way to begin the week. We have a new unicorn in India.
Absolutely, Chandra. Fabulous way to start the week. This is Krishna Kumar coming to you live from ET Now's Mumbai studios. First up, a check on all that's making headlines here at ET Now Startup Central. A new unicorn is born. Kavin Mittal's Hike Messenger hits the $1 billion valuation mark with its latest round of fundraising. The son of Airtel's promoter, Sunil Mittal, speaks to ET Now and says that he is already in talks for a couple of acquisitions. Startups seem to be still grappling with all the funding crunch. Our weekly funding analysis shows that deal activity is slowing down. Details coming up. Kotak Mahindra Bank is kicking off a series of initiatives to strengthen its digital presence and work closely with startups, even as it prepares for a disruption in the form of payment banks. Microsoft hosts its first ever conference on machine learning and data sciences in India, signifying the huge potential they see in the country. They are now keen to increase the engagement as enterprises and the government open up to manage vast amounts of data. Another big voice from the Valley, James Snow, global product strategist for security and compliance at Google. He says that India will need more cloud-based solutions and that Google is looking to do away with passwords completely.
Straight to the top story then, where India has a new unicorn, and we are talking about Hike, the messaging app founded by Kavin Mittal, the CEO of the Bharti group. And Krishna, you know, this is significant because they've managed to raise funding in a tough year, funding led by the likes of China's Tencent and of course Foxconn, which is now valuing Hike at over $1.4 billion. Now the other headline for this, of course, is that Tencent, remember, is WeChat's owner. So, you know, WeChat's owner investing in WhatsApp's rival. That's an interesting way to look at it. And it really remains to be seen if WeChat and Hike are going to work closely together going forward. But we really have the man of the day, the man of the moment, Kavin Bharti Mittal, who spoke to ET Now's Gaurang Sinha and fielded a range of questions on WeChat, on funding, and you know, really how he's going to put that money to use. Let's listen into what Kavin Mittal had to say.
We were fortunate enough to find people who believed in our vision, who believed in the mission, and saw the growth in the product.
Right.
Having new partners like Tencent and Foxconn, their pedigree speaks for themselves.
Absolutely,
it's fantastic.
Right.
Fundraising is definitely not easy, generally speaking.
Right.
But the best part is that the product speaks for itself, and I think that's why we have this new round of funding and the valuation.
Tencent, with its WeChat product, is actually one of your major competitors, if you think of it that way, in the international market. Now, coming in, obviously, they bring in with a lot of experience. But what does that speak for you in terms of the individual products of WeChat and Hike? Perhaps will we see any synergy going forward, or will you continue to be competitors in that space?
As far as synergies go, don't expect anything between sort of Hike and WeChat, the products. Okay. However,
right.
Tencent, being a shareholder in this company, now will open their doors to us and sort of give us an idea of what's been happening in China.
Right.
And access to technology, insights, people, and so on and so forth is something we're looking forward to very eagerly.
Going forward, you've got a huge new round of funding, $175 million. How do you plan to deploy that? Will you look at entering new markets as well with that?
Our focus remains India, given how diverse and complicated the market actually is.
Right.
There's a lot changing as we speak.
Right.
We will continue to invest in people, invest in our product, and more importantly, for the first time in a long time, we'll have the ammo to make some long-term bets.
Right, right. And what might those be? Considering that you've also got Telegram, WhatsApp, who are obviously increasing their presence even on Indian shores as well.
We've already begun certain investments in things like machine learning and computer vision. The question is, can we accelerate those investments with the new sort of fund round? We talk to companies all the time.
Right.
As I mentioned, we can make a few more big bets this time.
Right.
If there are great teams out there or companies that are building unique technology that's relevant to us, come talk to us.
So obviously, when you were going ahead with the funding round, what part of perhaps this ammunition, the $175 million, could you look at perhaps deploying towards acquisitions versus the other areas I've mentioned?
It's not something we've carved out.
Okay.
However, if we're acquiring companies, it's always with the notion that the team that's building the technology
Right.
or that has built the unique product
Correct.
joins us in the long-term vision.
Okay.
So it's very, very important that the team buys that.
Okay.
And so it's less capital, sort of, of course, much more equity in acquisitions.
All right. You've also got the, of course, your product, and product is king in your space. If you look at that itself, you've got, I believe, 100 million registered users. If you could just share us some details in terms of perhaps what's the monthly active number, perhaps if not an exact number, sort of a percentage of your registered users.
So the numbers that we disclose are that people are sending over 40 billion messages per month on the platform, and
Right.
people are spending over 120 minutes a week in the application every week.
Right.
That's huge.
Okay.
And our focus in the last year has just been to increase that number as much as possible, because we really believe the Indian internet market is still very small.
Right.
There are no more than, our guess is 200 million active internet customers in the country today.
Okay.
And so while we look towards increasing the overall number as well, what we're focused on is driving more engagement in the application,
Okay.
and we will continue to do that.
Okay. You're obviously some distance away still from monetizing, the product, as it were. What model would you look at, perhaps in the longer run? Would you look at advertising, or would you look at perhaps different subscription-based models and things like that?
Ads themselves are something that I personally am not a fan of, because you don't want to destroy the experience.
Okay.
So time will tell.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, there are two business models that work globally in the space:
Right.
the ad model and the transactions model.
Right.
Now we have someone backing us who's pioneered the transactions model.
Right.
So time will tell. I think it's wrong for us to say, hey, this is the business model we're going to sort of go after.
Okay.
The question is, where is the product in 2 years from now?
Okay.
And what business model lends itself to that product?
What a silver lining to the dark clouds of the funding crunch that the Indian startups have been witnessing. Hike Messenger there becoming the new unicorn in town. On that note, it's time now for our weekly funding meter segment, where we get you all the funding action over the week gone by. And data collated by Venture Intelligence shows that venture capital activity has slowed compared to the last month, not surprisingly. In the August 8th to August 13th time period, 6 deals worth just about $56 million have been struck. In those, the notable ones, the notable venture capital investments include InnovaCare raising about $15.6 million, Fusion Microfinance raising $15 million again, and Zenoti also raising $15 million. 3 notable deals in that rather slim week, I must say. And in other deals that have garnered attention, mostly crowd-funded ones like Zipgrid, Revo, Gen X to students, all raising money via the crowdfunding mode, and the Indian Angel Network raising 150 crore rupees.
The story that we have next is pretty interesting. We are talking with Kotak Mahindra Bank's Chief Digital Officer Deepak Sharma on some of the initiatives that they've been taking to really beef up its presence in digital and also work with startups. Deepak Sharma, thank you so much for joining us on ET Now Startup Central. Take us through some of the work that Kotak's been doing on the digital front, and also your recent tie-up with Flipkart.
Yeah, so I think 2 parts. The first one first, on digital, we embarked on several initiatives over last 18 to 24 months. Some of the larger ones that we had was around the digital transformation of our bank, where we looked at stuff like the credit decision automation, which makes it easier for our customers to apply for a personal loan or a credit card, and where a decision can be taken instantly. Also offering things like the pre-approved loan on the click, both on our mobile and on net banking. We also did a lot of other initiatives on the sales process effectiveness for the sales team. Things like our tab banking solution for our corporate customers. We are looking at areas around payments, where we have launched several firsts of sorts, like KPay, our mail money, and our message money, which is mobile number based funds transfer. On innovation, we looked at areas about to say, how do we create a digital first approach for our customers, where our products like Jiffy, which was the first of its kind digital and social bank account, was launched a year back. We were the first one to launch also hashtag banking, which was bank using Twitter, directed more to the socially savvy customers. And sometime back we launched a very unique app of its kind, which is what we call Kotak Bharat Banking, which was directed towards customers who do not have access to data on their smartphone, or they probably don't use English as their preferred language of banking. So we launched a multilingual banking app which works in an offline mode. So we looked at multiple areas around which our digital strategy is focused, but broadly I would say these are around 5 or 6 key pillars, which is around transformation, it's around various lending initiatives, it's around various payment initiatives, looking at the digital channels, which is our multiple mobile apps, online banking, social media banking, and something recently we have launched which is more focused activity around the innovation.
All right, Mr. Sharma, this is Krishna Kumar coming to you from 80 Now's Mumbai studios. I wanted to ask you, how are you really prepared, to counter payment banks, and the disruption that is expected with their arrival?
I think our entire strategy is around our customers, and I think at Kotak we have a very high digital adoption even on our existing customer base. So if you look at it, close to about 50% of our customers are digitally active. And the way we are looking at this entire space is about how we can build something around customer experience and customer journeys. So today as we speak, we launched, as you know, a Flipkart shopping into our mobile app. And the whole idea of bringing in a lot of these experience, right from what we did with the travel and airlines to hotel booking to shopping, is to provide the kind of unmatched convenience to our customers who would love to do not just payments but would like to do something which is more in terms of their serious day-to-day banking, to investments, to the lending products, and of course the convenience of payment.
Finally, Mr. Sharma, before we let you go, a lot of banks increasingly, are looking at working with fintech startups. Some of them are even thinking about setting up an accelerator. Tell us how Kotak's really going about this, and will you look at setting up an accelerator for startups anytime soon?
Kotak realizes the importance of working very closely with, I would say, the fintech ecosystem. Very early on, we started partnering with NASSCOM's Startup 10K. Rather, in fact, we were one of the first banks to partner with the startup ecosystem through NASSCOM. And we continue to work closely with NASSCOM's Startup 10K. We have also set up an innovation lab recently in Bangalore. And our entire focus has been to work very closely with the various fintech players, where we are partnering, we are looking at investing into some of those strategic players. We work a lot of our developments today, right from what we launched with our hashtag banking or credit decision engine, has been done in partnership with fintechs. And today we are testing a lot of very interesting technologies, right from machine learning to robotics, artificial intelligence, to biometric based authentication, chat bots. A lot of this we are working very closely with fintechs. So we see a great value working with the entire startup ecosystem, and we are doing a lot of work, as I mentioned already, in this space.
Thanks so much for that, Mr. Sharma. And with that, I'm afraid we're completely out of time in this edition of ET Now Startup Central. But we will bring you those pending stories on both Microsoft and Google tomorrow. Stay tuned to ET Now Startup Central. And thanks so much for watching this show.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.